Hey Spurs fans, welcome back to another update on our San Antonio Spurs. Before we jump into today's breaking news, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And here's something special for you. Everyone who subscribes and leave a comment with their name and the city they're watching for will automatically be entered into our giveaway to win an official San Antonio Spurs jersey. So don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and comment your name and city below. Stay tuned, because the next Spurs fan wearing the jersey could be you. The arena felt like a pressure cooker from the opening tip. Lights glaring, breath held, a hush that promised a storm. San Antonio had seen this movie before. A commanding cushion against Minnesota, then a slow bleed. What no one expected was the way the night would twist. Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards trading haymakers, a scoreboard wobbling under the weight of momentum swings, and a finish so chaotic it felt scripted by fate. San Antonio's early plan was ruthless and simple. Attack the interior with Rudy Gobert sidelined by a bruised hip. Drives carved lanes, bodies collided, and the paint became a runway. Yet both sides sputtered, the score crawling, the rhythm elusive. Minnesota nudged ahead, and that flicker of danger snapped KELDON Johnson awake. 7 straight points, a burst of defiance that steadied the Spurs before a late Wolves flurry nudged them in front. The second quarter detonated. Wembanyama stepped into the offense like a conductor, and suddenly the floor widened. Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle splashed from deep. Spacing snapped into place, and Luke Kornet feasted on consecutive lobs that felt like exclamation points. Then Wembanyama turned the rim into a target and the arc into a stage. 4 straight triples, a stretch that felt inevitable and impossible at once. San Antonio poured in their most explosive quarter of the season, a barrage of 8 threes and a tidal wave of 48 points that sent them to halftime with a cushion that looked bulletproof. It wasn't. The third quarter opened with Minnesota's resolve and San Antonio's complacency colliding. Turnovers multiplied, transition defense frayed, and a French rookie named Joan Beringer sparked a run that cut through the lead like wire. The Wolves didn't sprint. They stalked, possession by possession, forcing San Antonio into rushed decisions and loose execution. The building tightened. The bench tightened. The narrative tightened. Anthony Edwards detonated in the final frame. He hunted matchups, rose into jumpers, and turned the arc into a weapon. 26 points in one quarter is not a scoring run. It's a takeover. When his mid-range pulled Minnesota ahead late, the air shifted. San Antonio had seen this collapse before. The question was whether they had learned anything. Wembanyama answered with poise and venom. A jumper to match Edwards. A 3 to match again. A steal that flipped possession, and a trip to the stripe after a frustrated shove. He didn't just score. He imposed rhythm, slowed panic, and forced Minnesota to react. The duel became a mirror, one star daring the other to blink. Chaos crept in. A timeout turned into a technical on Chris Finch. A free throw clanged, and Edwards buried another deep shot that felt like a dagger. De'Aaron Fox, steady as a metronome, sank his free throws. San Antonio chose to foul Edwards to deny the 3, an unpopular decision that made tactical sense in the moment. He split when Wembanyama vacuumed the rebound, and then the script twisted again. Julian Champagny, typically reliable, missed both. The building groaned. Wembanyama seized the offensive board, hit the first, and then made a baffling choice, intentionally missing the second with a chance to push the lead to 4 and freeze the clock. The lane violation that followed handed Minnesota a lifeline. Edwards' heave from midcourt sailed wide, and the Horn finally delivered mercy. San Antonio survived 126 to 123. The officiating subplot matched the night's volatility. A third-quarter challenge on a Castle drive spiraled into confusion. An explanation about illegal contact with the ball that sounded like a block, an inbound that contradicted free throws, and a correction that restored order. It was a reminder that even the rulebook can wobble under pressure. Wembanyama's line, 39 points, 9 rebounds, tells only part of the story. He authored 2 crescendos, the avalanche that built the lead, and the composure that reclaimed it. Fox threaded the night with control, 25 points and 12 assists, proof that he and Wembanyama can share the stage without dimming each other's light. Johnson's 20 off the bench culminated in the shot that mattered most, a corner three that felt like a verdict. The pattern is undeniable. San Antonio can build a mountain and then forget how to breathe at altitude. That's not just a tactical flaw, it's an identity question. Late-game decision-making, rotation trust, and composure under pressure are not luxuries. They're prerequisites for a team that wants to matter in spring. Minnesota's resilience deserves its own headline. Without Gobert, they leaned on pace, pressure, and Edwards' audacity. Behringer's spark hinted at depth, and the Wolves' ability to turn defense into instant offense exposed San Antonio's soft spots: ball security, floor balance, and transition urgency. The final minutes will be studied in film rooms and debated in locker rooms. The intentional foul on Edwards worked. The missed free throws did not. The intentional miss did not. The lane violation cannot happen. These are teachable moments, but they're also fault lines, places where habits either harden or crack. Beyond the box score, the night offered character snapshots. Wembanyama's refusal to fold. Fox's steadiness when the floor tilted. Johnson's timing. Champagne's stumble and the team's response. Even Carter Bryant, who didn't attempt a dunk and still found a way to matter with relentless offensive rebounding, reminded everyone that hustle is a currency that spins in any economy. The Spurs' ceiling is visible when the ball moves, the spacing holds, and the defense sets the terms. Their floor appears when possessions get rushed, the glass goes unboxed, and the pace belongs to the opponent. Bridging that gap is the work, habits, rotations, accountability, and a late-game plan that doesn't rely on heroics to erase preventable mistakes. For now, the headline is survival. The subhead is warning. San Antonio escaped because their star refused to let the night become a rerun. If they want to turn survival into momentum, the next step is obvious: protect leads, value possessions, and make the simple choice when the complex one tempts. And yet, there's a thrill in the chaos. The duel, the swings, the noise. This is why arenas fill and hearts race. The Spurs didn't just win. They revealed who they are under stress. If they can turn that revelation into resolve, the next time a lead swells, the ending might feel less like a cliff and more like a summit. Before we go on, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Your support keeps our Spurs coverage strong and brings you the latest updates straight from San Antonio. And jump into the comments. Tell us what you think about today's news. The video begins with a tense silence, the kind that makes viewers lean forward, waiting for the revelation. The camera zooms in on Keldon Johnson, his expression serious, his words deliberate. Then comes the shocking declaration: "I will only continue with the Spurs if he leaves." Gasps ripple through the crowd, and the NBA community finds itself at the center of a storm that could redefine the future of the San Antonio franchise. The announcement has sent shockwaves across the league. Johnson, known for his energy, versatility, and leadership, rarely makes statements without purpose. His refusal to continue alongside a teammate raises questions about chemistry, discipline, and the fragile balance within a roster striving to return to contention. For Spurs fans, the moment feels surreal. San Antonio has been riding high on the promise of rebuilding around young talent, but Johnson's words pierce through the optimism like a thunderclap. The declaration is not just about one player. It is about the culture of the team, the relationships that bind it, and the cracks that may now be visible to the world. The video clip of Johnson's statement is already circulating across social media, replayed endlessly with captions, memes, and heated debates. Fans dissect his tone, his body language, and the timing of his announcement. Was this a spontaneous outburst or a carefully planned message? The ambiguity fuels the intrigue, keeping audiences glued to every update. Inside the Spurs locker room, the atmosphere is reportedly tense. Teammates are caught between loyalty to Johnson and the need to preserve unity. The identity of the player he refuses to play alongside remains the subject of speculation, and the uncertainty only heightens the drama. For a team that thrives on cohesion, this fracture could prove costly. Analysts are quick to frame the situation as a pivotal moment in San Antonio's journey. The Spurs have long prided themselves on resilience and tradition, but Johnson's declaration challenges that narrative. If unresolved, the tension could derail their aspirations, forcing the front office to make difficult decisions about roster construction. The timing of Johnson's statement adds to the gravity. San Antonio is in the midst of preparing for another season, and distractions of this magnitude threaten to undermine focus. Coaches are scrambling to address the situation, balancing the need to support Johnson with the imperative of keeping the team united. Fans are divided in their reactions. Some applaud Johnson for speaking his truth, arguing that honesty is essential for long-term success. Others criticize the public nature of his statement, fearing that airing grievances so openly could damage the team's reputation and morale. The debate reflects the complexity of modern sports culture, where transparency and loyalty often collide. National media outlets have seized upon the story, framing it as one of the most dramatic developments of the offseason. Headlines scream of conflict within the Spurs, and talk shows dedicate entire segments to analyzing the fallout. The narrative is irresistible. A young star challenging the status quo in a franchise desperate to reclaim its glory. Internationally, the news has sparked intrigue among basketball fans who follow the NBA from afar. Johnson's boldness resonates globally, with fans debating whether his stance reflects a generational shift in player empowerment. His words are being translated, shared, and discussed in markets far beyond San Antonio, underscoring the global reach of the NBA. Economically, the ripple effects are already visible. Merchandise sales tied to Johnson have surged as fans rush to secure memorabilia connected to the controversy. Ticket demand for Spurs games has spiked, driven by curiosity about how the team will respond. The business side of the sport is capitalizing on the drama, even as the organization grapples with its consequences. Within the Spurs front office, the urgency is palpable. Executives are reportedly holding emergency meetings to evaluate options, from mediating the conflict to considering roster changes. Every decision will be scrutinized as the franchise seeks to reassure fans and maintain momentum in the face of adversity. The broader NBA community is buzzing with speculation about how San Antonio will handle the situation. Will the team prioritize Johnson's concerns, or will they attempt to preserve the existing roster at all costs? The uncertainty adds another layer of intrigue, ensuring that the story remains a headline for weeks to come. For the Spurs players, the challenge is clear: adapt quickly and maintain focus. Leadership within the locker room will be tested as veterans guide the team through this period of turmoil, ensuring that morale remains high and performance does not falter. The burden of keeping the team united now rests heavily on their shoulders. The cultural impact of Johnson's declaration is significant. In San Antonio, he had become a symbol of youthful promise, and his words now carry the weight of disillusionment. Fans are grappling with the emotional complexity of supporting a team that may be fractured from within. The city's sports identity feels momentarily shaken, and the community is rallying around the Spurs in hopes of finding stability. Media coverage continues to intensify, with round-the-clock analysis dissecting every angle of the story. From locker room dynamics to contract implications, no aspect is left unexplored. The narrative evolves rapidly, and readers remain eager for the next revelation. As the dust settles, one truth becomes clear: Johnson's declaration is more than a personal grievance. It is a turning point. The Spurs must now navigate the delicate balance of honoring his perspective while forging a path forward that preserves their ambitions. The video that began with shock and disbelief has now transformed into a rallying cry. Fans, players, and analysts alike are united in anticipation, waiting to see how the San Antonio Spurs will respond to this seismic shift. The story is far from over, and every development promises to keep audiences on edge. In the end, Keldon Johnson's refusal is not just about one player. It is about the unpredictable nature of sports, the fragility of success, and a relentless drama that makes the NBA one of the most captivating leagues in the world. The Spurs' next move will define not only their season but their legacy, and the world is watching with bated breath. The declaration has ignited a firestorm of speculation, and the Spurs' faithful believe this is the dawn of a new chapter. The journey ahead will be filled with challenges, triumphs, and unforgettable moments. But one thing is certain. San Antonio has made a statement, and the NBA will never be the same. The reverberations of Keldon Johnson's shocking statement, "I will only continue with the Spurs if he leaves," have continued to ripple across the NBA, sparking heated debates and speculation about the future of the San Antonio franchise. Local media outlets in Texas describe the atmosphere as tense yet electrifying, noting that fans are both stunned and curious about the implications of Johnson's ultimatum. The city is buzzing with conversations, and the fan base is divided between those who support Johnson's bold stance and those who fear the fallout could destabilize the team. National sports networks have seized upon the story, framing it as one of the most dramatic developments of the season. Analysts argue that Johnson's refusal to coexist with a teammate is not just about personal conflict. It is about setting a precedent in a league where player empowerment has become increasingly influential. His boldness has been praised by some as a necessary act of honesty, while others criticize the public nature of his statement, warning that it could fracture locker room chemistry. On social media, the conversation remains relentless. Fans are posting clips of Johnson's press conference, dissecting his tone and body language, and speculating endlessly about the identity of the player he wants out. Memes mocking the situation and heated debates about whether Johnson's approach is justified flood timelines, ensuring that the story remains at the forefront of NBA discourse. Former players and coaches have weighed in, many applauding Johnson for his uncompromising stance. They highlight the importance of maintaining authenticity in the locker room, noting that a player's credibility is built on honesty and conviction. Others caution that such public declarations can backfire, potentially alienating teammates and creating divisions that linger throughout the season. Internationally, the news has resonated as well. Fans across Europe, Asia, and Latin America are following the saga closely, seeing it as a fascinating example of the high-stakes drama that defines the NBA. Johnson's words are being translated and debated in markets far beyond San Antonio, underscoring the global reach of the league and the universal appeal of its controversies. Economically, the impact has been immediate. Merchandise sales tied to Johnson have surged as fans rush to secure memorabilia connected to the controversy. Ticket demand for Spurs games has spiked, driven by curiosity about how the team will respond. Broadcasters are capitalizing on the drama, promoting San Antonio's matchups as must-watch events filled with intrigue. Within the Spurs locker room, the mood is reportedly unsettled. Teammates are grappling with the shock of Johnson's statement, trying to balance loyalty to their teammate with solidarity for the player in question. The uncertainty has created an atmosphere of tension, but also an opportunity for leaders within the team to step up and guide their peers through the storm. The broader NBA community is buzzing with speculation about how San Antonio will handle the situation. Will the team prioritize Johnson's concerns, or will they attempt to preserve the existing roster at all costs? The uncertainty adds another layer of intrigue, ensuring that the story remains a headline for weeks to come. For the Spurs coaching staff, the challenge is clear: maintain authority while preventing the controversy from derailing the season. Johnson's declaration has set a tone, but the staff must now navigate the delicate balance of enforcing discipline without losing the trust of the players. The anticipation of how this will unfold keeps fans and analysts on edge. Ultimately, the repercussions of Johnson's statement extend beyond a single season. It has become a narrative about leadership, resilience, and the power of bold decision-making in professional sports. As fans, analysts, and players continue to react, one truth remains clear. Keldon Johnson's words have not only shaken the San Antonio Spurs, but have also reshaped the NBA conversation in ways that will be felt for years to come. That's it for today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of every exclusive San Antonio Spurs news drop, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And don't forget, your opinion matters to Spurs Nation. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.